All right, welcome. Today we'll be doing lab 6-4. So to start out, we're in Excel on the uh, University of Arkansas VMware because we will be pulling our data from the SQL Server. So to start, we're going to go and get data from database from SQL Server. And it's the same server that we've been using all these other previous labs. All right. And then our database is going to be WCOB Dillards. All right, now we're going to go and make a SQL statement. Right. Okay, so essentially what we're doing is we're selecting the transaction date, the transaction type, and then we're going to sum the transaction amount, and we're going to list it as amount. We're going to pull this from the transact table. We're going to group them by the transaction date and the transaction type. And then we're going to order them by the transaction date. Then we're going to hit OK. And it's going to take a little while to load, so, well, we're going to do connect. Okay. And that's going to take a little while, so take it out of the wait time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit transform data. We'll bring us into this query editor here. We're going to click trans type and transform. All right, so we're going to choose pivot column. And so we're going to trans type, and what the columns we want to pivot is the amount. And then we're going to click OK. So now we can see here that it split our returns into one column and our purchases into another right here. And then we'll go over here and we'll choose close and load, and it'll load it in. This may take a little while, so I'll let y'all. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a pivot table. So we're going to go over here to insert and pivot table. All right, click OK. And so we can see here. Next, what we need is the, one moment. What we need is a power pivot little tab up here, but we do not have it, and you will probably not have it either. So we're just going to come over to options. We're going to go to add-ins. And so Power Pivot is a COM add-in, a COM add-in. So we want to make sure that we choose that. We're going to click Go. And then we're going to Power Pivot right here. And then we're just going to hit OK. So now we can see here we've added the Power Pivot little tab up here. All right, so we're going to go over to our Power Pivot. We're going to go to Measures, and we're going to click a new measure. Yeah. One moment. All right, we figured it out. So what happened was when we created the pivot table in the first place, we did not click the checkbox that said add to data model. So we were not able to create a measure. So whenever you make your pivot table, you want to make sure that you click the add to data model on it. That way it'll show you this. That way you can make your measure. Really quickly, we're going to call it R over P, or returns over purchases. All right. All right, and then our formula is going to be sum 1 divided by sum. Jeez. There we go. All right, now we're just going to click OK. There we go. All right, so you can see here it not only gave us this right here, but it also gave us this little thing over here. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and, so we have RP in our values. We're going to leave that there. Next, we're going to do transaction date in our rows. And we're going to also do transaction date in our filter. So now we can also go in here and choose. And we can see here, it's broken it down by quarter and yearly and monthly. So we can go through and we can see what all our R over P is for each of those. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of our transaction date year. We're going to get rid of our transaction date quarter. So, and then we want our transaction date here and our transaction date month up here. That way, so we can see each of them on each day, and we can still go into this, into here, and we can choose by month. All right. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go and filter for everything. Oopsies. See if it'll. I see. So it's being like that. Interesting. All right, so we'll select multiple. And so we want to filter by January here. So we're going to click all and then just January. Okay, and then we're going to copy that and we're going to paste it over here. So now we have two versions of the same pivot table. So now with this new version, we're going to filter for everything but January. And then we're going to use this to compare. So as you can see as well, this is January for 14, 15, 16. And that is the same for all these. It is all the months for the years 14, 15, and 16. All right. All right, we're just going to make these a little bit more easier to understand. So we're going to call this January. And we're going to call this one rest of the year. All right. And now we're going to need the an analysis tool pack. As you can see, we don't have it in here. And depending on if you've used it before or not, you may or may not have it. So we're going to go back over to options again. Go to add-ins. The analysis tool pack is an Excel add-in. So we're going to keep that. And here we are. We're going to click OK. And here we are. So now we have our data analysis up here. All right, so now we have our data analysis. We're going to come in here and we're going to do a t-test for two samples, assuming an unequal variances. For our variable one range, we're going to come over here. We're going to choose this. Click down, and we want to make sure that we don't add in our grand total. We do not want to add it in. And then for our variable two range, again, doing the same thing, not adding in the total. And then we're going to make sure that we have labels in here because there we go. So we want to make sure we have labels because our first cells in each one have our characters, not numbers. So those are the labels for the rows and the variables. So we're going to click that, and then we're going to put it in a new worksheet. And so we should click OK. And here we are. There we go. And so now we can see it gives us all our numbers. It gives us our mean for each one, our variance, our observations, and everything. So looking at this, what this is kind of telling us is we have our means here and our t-stat, so everything. And so our p-values here are really big ones that are going to tell us if this is statistically significant or not. As you can see here, these are actually very low numbers. Right now, they're written in scientific notation, so you can't really tell. But if we were to change these two formats from to numbers, we can see here that they're essentially zero. They're so small that they are being registered as zero. And so they're below 0.05, which is how we know whether it's statistically significant or not, which they both are. So which means, kind of like looking at all of this data, we're seeing that there are more returns in January than there are in the rest of the year. And we can kind of tell that by, our means and everything. But what tells us whether or not this is actually significant is our p-values that we see right here. And since they're both below 0.05, we can say with some certainty that more returns happen within January rather than within the rest of the year. And that should be it for lab 6-4. Thank you very much.